Let's go ahead and introduce our teacher today, our our professor, Professor Drawing Company, funny guy, funny NFT guy, uh, who's with us today, who's been a presenter before, who kind of, I guess, kickstarted this whole NFTOPIA school, and then I joined, and we're kind of just doing this. We're gonna do this every time we do NFTOPIA, leading up to it, 3 sessions like this. We may be repeating content that we've talked about before, and same thing moving forward for other ones. But the landscape is always changing; it's always evolving. So we'll be talking about things that are in the current too. So if anything comes up and things become better, and there's better strategies and stuff like that, then that's what this is for too. And then same thing for the roundtable afterward. We invite all creators to come on in and share your own tips. What has worked for you? What is still working for you? What does the community like from you as a creator? That can come after the presentation. So today we're going to talk about NFTopia drops and swag strategies, some marketing, some data analysis. I'm going to turn on the screen share. Here it is. If everybody
Woo.
wants to watch the Twitch, if you're not already, and we'll let you take it away, my man.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you were saying there about things going out of date. So I created the slideshow for the last one, and every time I come to do one of these schools, I get it out and I think, well, this is going to be easy because I can just copy and paste it and change the font. Absolutely not. Like there is so much stuff that loses relevancy, has lost relevancy since the last one. That is just I've had to leave on the cutting room floor because it's just not relevant anymore. So people, welcome to week 1 of 3 of NFTopia School. Thanks for coming along for the ride. As consumer has probably said already, please, if you're a creator, we need you to fill out that form so that you're counted as being here this week, so that you can be entered into win the great prize, the rewards. So we asked the question last time when we put it out there, but you know, essentially what we're doing at NFTopia is getting our NFTs into a new holder's wallet, and we're going to show you the easy way to do that. Like everything in life, nothing's easy, but if you follow the steps, what I think are the right steps, it will become easier for you. So yeah, work hard, you'll get some rewards. Consumers already said it. If you stay with us for the 3 week period and you attend and you fill out that form every week, watch the content and hopefully learn something, we're going to give you a free Nuvo code for your booth, which is worth $10. That's not that's not an insurmountable prize that we're giving away there. And yeah, raffling off one stand, one small booth, worth $20. So it's well worth just putting up with me for the for the 20 minutes and just sticking around and learning something. So fill out that form ASAP. So we've already said it. Don't need to say it again, but I will. NFT and swag strategies this week. NFT marketing 101 part 1, because we're going to cover marketing more in depth. But I wanted to do more marketing type stuff on the first week this time because we had a lot of marketing style questions. And I'm going to show you the data that you've got available to you. And we're going to go through that step by step and how to use that data to really inform what you do. And then we're going to open it up to the round table, which will be super interesting once I shut up. So as I've said, and I've said a million times to people, and I do when I'm giving advice, when I was giving Waffles advice, I'm telling you what works for Drawn Company and me from the Drawn Company perspective, and also my background in marketing. I've been an events manager, I've been an events coordinator. I know how to promote stuff to people. But DYOR is the health check here, because if there's anything that you think doesn't relate to you, then it just might not be appropriate. And if you were to implement that, it could be detrimental to your collection. We're not talking about massive decisions that would would kill you off completely, but you have to really sort of take the information that we give you and do some research around that, and then decide what's appropriate for you. And also with that, if you've got any questions, just message me directly. I don't bite. So we'll move on to NFT strategies, right? First of all, and there are 3 points to consider, right, when we're deciding the type of NFTs that we're going to be doing as a drop specifically, and that is important specifically for NFTopia, because some of the things we're going to talk about won't be relevant to all the drops that you do. We're going to cover whether you're using existing or new assets and whether they're going to be exclusive to the show. We're going to be talking about drops and potential delivery methods. And then we're going to do the Web3 balancing act, which is a bit of fun at the end there. So, existing or new and exclusive, right? You know, we've got 4 weeks now until the event. You've got time to create something new. There's no point in coming to an NFTopia and just throwing up some sides at the last minute and, you know, just doing the minimal effort. You've been given a gift. We're doing them in 3 months intervals as opposed to 2 now. There's longer time elapsed. You've got 4 weeks from today to really create something. You know, something that's new, something that will potentially reach, you know, a bigger audience than you normally have access to. So, you know, bear that in mind. At the same time, I'm not saying if you do just want to come to NFTopia and do that, if you just want to come and say, hey, this is what we do, that's fine, because you're still going to get, you know, the sort of like the engagement from people that you wouldn't normally get, but that engagement is the opportunity there, and so that's why I think that we should all be creating, you know, new stuff. Exclusivity sells, right? If you go for an NFTopia exclusive, like I have, it's just an absolute no-brainer because you're going to be given extra marketing support. I'll show you at the end how you do that. It's really not rocket science, and I'm not talking about creating an NFT with the NFTopia logo on. That's why we do stuff like the collab blends, maybe some promo drops, and maybe some swag. That your core offer doesn't need to have the NFTopia logo on to be NFTopia exclusive, as in the NFTs that you produce. But the marketing does, and if you do that and you're tweeting the, you know, the NFTopia account, you're going to be getting the extra retweets. You're going to be getting the extra engagement. As consumers already said, I've said this time and time again, and we apply it to our slides on the stands, but we also sort of like, we should view our NFTs as mini mobile billboards that can be passed from user to user, because the great thing about your NFTs is if you make a cool and sexy NFT, when people are looking at other people's wallets or the secondary market, they start to stand out amongst the noise. And again, you have to decide, you know, whether you're going to use the brand specifically on your NFTs. I'm not talking about the marketing now, I'm talking about the NFTs. You're more than welcome to. What I always say to people is, if you are going to use the brand, it needs to be cleared really by either Waffles or Consumer or someone in the team, because you know, there are branding guidelines which you can find on the website, but it's a lot easier for you to just create something, ping it in a message, and they'll give you the yes or no. Again, completely up to you. So drops and delivery methods, how many? I always say you should possibly stick to one, especially if you're a smaller project. I've done NFTopias and not NFTopias, I've done Digicons where I've tried to do something on the Friday, something on the Saturday, something on the Sunday. It just gets lost. You can pull it off, but you know, it's very difficult because then you've got a balancing act. You've got to get the message out there to people, and often getting the message out there for just one thing can be challenging enough. So yeah, keep it simple. Do what you can manage. If you want to do 2 drops, do 2 drops. But in my personal experience, it's sort of like it's better to just focus on one thing that will allow you to keep your marketing simple. And also, you know, this is something, if you look at my Twitter feed, you'll see, and I will show you again at the end how I do this, but I always sell before I make it. So I come up with an idea for something that I want to do in the future, and I'll just put it out there on Twitter to just test what people think about it. Are people reacting to it? Do they like it? Are they commenting on it? Because the likelihood is, if you get a lot of likes when you put something out like that, then you're probably onto something good, and you should pursue it. And then also we need to consider the yay, I've sold out. So it is great, and I've got my sold out banners there. I am currently on a streak, which will be broken at this NFTOPIA for the first time since Digicon 10. Because I can't sell out this time because the packs will be available for a timed amount of time, which sort of hurts my hobby a lot. But oh well, I'm a grown man. So yeah, just think about, if you're doing a very limited drop that could potentially sell out very early on the Friday, you're going to have lots of people coming to your stands that are going to be disappointed if they like what you do. And the very fact, they're not going to message you and say, oh, I saw your drop was sold out and I was really sad about that. They're just going to move on to the next project. So consider that, it's a balancing act, and we'll get to the balancing act in a bit. You've got to decide on what's manageable, because there's nothing better than having the buzz of the sold out, but sometimes it works, and sometimes it can work against you. So yeah, the Web3 balancing act. This specifically, this slide applies to when we're thinking about whether we're doing a free or a paid drop. And there's so many pitfalls with doing a free drop now with the bot technology that's out there, because you'll find that if you do a free drop, it will just get consumed by accounts who, really it shouldn't be having access to your stuff for free. And I've got some horror stories, which we'll get onto in a bit. So if we look at the left-hand column, right, we've got low price at the top, stack 'em high, and potentially an easy sell, but with a question mark, right? On the right-hand side, we've got more of a premium price with an emphasis on quality, which is a hard sell with a question mark. Now, the reason the hard sell at the bottom there has the question marks is, and I was speaking about this last night to someone, they turned around and actually they said early adopters, people that are buying something new, actually don't mind paying a premium price. And we do see that and have seen that with NFTs. So actually, when you're pricing your drop for NFTOPIA, you've sort of got to consider pricing as sort of like one of the key elements, because yeah, okay, you could say it's an easy sell, right, if I go for a low price, but actually all you're doing is cheapening the value of the asset if that's not delivered properly. So you're producing the same asset which you could be potentially selling for more in a fewer quantity. You're getting lots out there, but it becomes counterproductive. So the discussion on price, we could open that up and we could talk about it. Maybe we talk about it in the round table once we finish this presentation. But it's it's a balancing act, and it's collection dependent. I can't tell you how to price your NFTs. By doing research and looking at similar drops and similar people who are doing the same type of thing that you are, you can get a sort of idea of that. So other considerations when we're making our NFTOPIA drop strategy, right? Do your research. Is anyone else doing something similar? I've just said it, right, when we're talking about the pricing, but let's look at every aspect of what your project is and what other projects are. Like, I like to compare myself to projects who are kicking out a lot of NFTs. It's high volume. There's no point in me comparing myself to a PFP project, because if I start to do that and start to compare, I can't draw the same conclusions, even though I do PFPs within Drawn Company. So yeah, giveaways are open to abuse, and I'm sorry I'll bore you with this story again. There's the epic fail in the right hand corner. That was a Digicon Keshi prototype toy which I did, and literally the event had been open for 3 hours, and I'd had 500 plus claimed. Now, there wasn't 500 people in the building at that time. It's just that people, when they see something like that, there's whole forums where they just put the link on and they will share it. And if you I'm probably not surprising anyone with that. You probably already know that, but it is something to consider. especially if you're giving away free. That can be mitigated very easily by just making a survey and putting it on your slides when you create them. You can use, QR codes. There's all sorts of tips and tricks. We'll go into that next week a bit more in depth. And what I always say to people is, and this is what I've been doing with Karen Burger this time, is every time I'm doing something with Karen Burger, I'm talking to other creators and other collectors, and I'm asking for their opinion, because if I don't ask for opinions, then I'm not going to be able to create the best product. Sorry. So, if you're talking to collectors, what do you like about our collection? What would you like to see me doing at NFTOPIA? What have you seen other people do that do similar stuff that worked at NFTOPIA? People will tell you. NFTs is a hobby, and one thing that people love is talking about their hobby. It's as simple as that. Let's just talk to some other creators. What would you do with my collection? That doesn't even need to be someone who's got a similar collection. You can get views from a diverse range of creators, because to be honest, if you do that, you're going to come out with a better sort of end product, because you're getting a lot of different influences in there. What are you doing for NFTopia? Simple, it's a no-brainer. Well, I'm doing this. What time are you dropping out? Oh, yeah, we do a similar stuff. I won't go against you. I'll go on the Sunday, that sort of thing, so it doesn't get confused. And then sort of like just looking at other people's collections and just asking yourself the question, what are other collections doing that I am not? So we're going to move on to swag now. So swag is the event goodie bag. When you go to any sort of like in real life or digital convention, people love free stuff. They want to come back literally loaded down with bags of pens. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's not pinned to the floor, they will put it in their bag. And the great thing about NFTopia swag is you have complete control over what you do in regards to what it is for a start, how many you're going to give to NFTopia to give away. And that's an absolute gift. So again, you can go back to the pricing slide, and we can run the same thing, which is, do I want to stack them high? Well, we've got the opportunity to reach a lot of collectors here. There is pitfalls with that. Or do I want to create something more premium, so there's a bit of FOMO there? It's all sent via bounty blocks, so you literally have to do nothing, right, to give away NFTopia swag. You just have to create the things, and you have to send them to Consumer Break. It is as simple as that. And imagine the amount of people that you can potentially reach that are filling out that swag form, that want stuff in their wallets. And do you know what? You're not going to send stuff to everybody's wallet and they're going to like it, but it only takes one person to like what you've done and tweet about it, and then there you go. You've got the potential to expand out even further. So consider that. Let's move on with swag strategy. So, 300 NFTs. Now, I've done it before. I still continue to do it. I can probably just about put it off. I've got 2,000 collectors, but I tend to find that sort of like swag will end up on the bottom of my floor. But I do like to sort of like stack them high, as it was. But we'll come on to that when we're talking about the make it later at the bottom there. Just have a look at your active collectorship. So how many people could I possibly send these NFTs out or give these NFTs to different wallets, and how many of my collectors are likely to want to swipe them from the market? We'll get onto that again in a bit when we talk about the data. You can knacker your floor really easily. My floor's knackered, always will be knackered. It doesn't worry me as such, but I've got lots of not really the swag. Actually, swag, to be honest, isn't the sort of like the thing that's really knackering my floor. The swag is a drop which was stolen for a networking coin. So if you want to laugh, go and have a look at that. Again, as we said with the NFT, as we said with the NFT drops and strategies at the start, use the brand, but use it carefully. So as you can see on the right hand side, I've got my extraterrestrial handheld, which I did for not the last NFTopia, the NFTopia before. I slapped the sticker on, but I made sure that I showed that to Waffles before I printed it, because I didn't want Waffles to turn around and say, no, actually, I'm not happy with that. You can't see the logo or whatever. It just leaves out problems later on down the line. So again, we can go back to that sort of, make it later strategy. What I've done in the past, if I'm really running out of time, is for the swag slides that Waffles will produce, that go in the swag booth. I'll just send a picture of the current thing that I'm doing, grayed out. So that year it was an action figure with a question mark in it. It was a mystery action figure. It was fun. But the technique I've sort of grown to love is the idea that I do a pre-minted drop. So I'll do a pre-minted drop as soon as I get the forms. This year I'm going to warn people in advance that they have to look for it, but I have really high levels of claims from those drops, and you're giving people then a bit of ownership over it. They have to do something. They've signed up. Okay, they're now whitelisted for a drop, but they have to physically go and do that. Which means that if I've got stuff later on, which I often do, I've got stuff to give away at the next NFTOPIA. Boom. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's winning. The people have got, a rarer asset at the time when it's distributed, and now I've got extra stuff to give away later on. So let's do marketing 101. Last time when we did week one, it was very sort of like text heavy. So I'm going to show you some pretty pictures now. So, but unfortunately, it's spreadsheets and data. So please don't switch off, because this is genuinely interesting. And this, if you know your data, right? If you've got a handle on the data, you're instantly winning, because people, right, in any walk of life, and we find this, especially in today's society, data is power. And the thing about the blockchain is, it's not like a normal situation where you're creating a product and you have to go and fight for information on buyers' habits and stuff like that. It's all there in one place, which is an absolute gold mine. And it deeply upsets me that people don't exploit that potential. So we're going to look at Atomic Hub, we're going to look at blocks.io, we're going to look at Nifty Blocks, and then we're going to finish with Wax Market Cap. So yeah, let's get on with the show. So on Atomic Hub, we all know that we've got our lovely collections page, but my challenge to you guys is how often do we actually look at the information that's contained in there, and we don't just glance at it, right? So we can see there I've got a total volume of 4,750. That's a bit of a false figure there, because that includes only atomic data. So that is secondary data for Drawn Company. So any secondary sales that I've ever done are presented to me there. There's then this great bar across the middle by the red circle, which is stats, more info, NFTs, templates, schemas, accounts, and sets. We're not going to do all of them because all of them aren't relevant to this today, but I encourage you all to, if you've never been there and you've had a sort of like exploration into what's there, just go and have a look. So let's start off with the 4,750 figure, right, which is my all-time sales on secondary market. But let's not look at that, right, because when we're looking at data, we can't always take what's given to us, because, and some of you might have said, some of you might be have picked up on where I'm going with this, that includes lots of different market conditions, right? So if we look over that, it's an 18-month period, because I calculated it today. You'll see that I had steady growth, but actually we've had a very sharp decline. So even though I'm not hitting the peaks that I was back in January, right, I am still sort of like having big peaks and troughs here. So what I always say to people is, look at the past 3 months, because a quarter's worth of data is probably going to be the most valuable to you. Now I've got a downwards trend there. I'm going to do something about that with Karen Berger. But let's dive into that a bit more. Let's dive into the peaks and troughs and start to look at why we're getting peaks and troughs, because this is where the data becomes really valuable. So I know that this latest biggest trough here was the Series 4 action figure that dropped that I did. But I was sort of like looking back and I was thinking, well, hang on, I've got a big trough in April and I've got a big trough in June. What can that tell me? Oh, surprise, surprise, people, right? the most sales on the secondary drawn companies doing is during NFTOPIA. Now, for me, right, I don't drop anymore outside of NFTOPIA because I love to provide extra content for the event. I like the platform and I like the fact that we get extra marketing support. So for me, I've said it time and time again, I will never do, as long as NFTOPIA is going, you will not see me doing a cornerstone AAA drop outside of an NFTOPIA week. I know it's congested. I know there's a lot of people doing stuff, but I like that because I'm having to fight for it. Do you know what I mean? But we still got this mystery question mark in the middle. What was that? Well, I'll tell you what it was, right? Because I didn't know. I just literally posted something in my Discord and I said to everybody who collected Series 4, which was at NFTopia, hey, has anyone got a full set yet? Because, you know, I think this was a screenshot I provided. I've got nothing. And someone turned around and said, oh, I'm 2 away. But that was just one collector doing all of those sales on that one day. And that's great because you're sort of like, you're starting to look at this now and understand and saying, okay, right, I know, let me go back a minute because that was meant to be another big reveal, right? I know that I can affect my sales if I'm dropping at NFTopia. I know that I can affect my sales if I'm doing a cornerstone drop, which was the action figures. And I know I can affect my sales by just engaging my community. So the first one, this is really interesting, right? If you look at this, even though let's look at this timeline, the market conditions are sort of like picking up slightly now, but the NFTopia drop was 40 wax packs, right? So I and again going back to this Web3, you know, I will go back to it again and again. The Web3 balancing act. So when I had this many sales, which amounted to $35. Is it $35? $35, yeah. 50 wax pack, 40 wax packs there. But actually, the latest drop, yeah, 2 wax packs, and I'm halfway there anyway. And the packs cost what's that? That's 90% less. But actually, by selling cheaper, I stimulated more sales on the secondary market, which means I'm stimulating people to actually collect and trade what I'm doing. Again, all of these findings come from me looking into the data that I have. So let's look at the stats, right? You've got, and I won't talk for much longer, I promise you, if anyone is looking at their watch, right, which I'm sure a lot of you are now, right, this doesn't last much longer, but it is invaluable. You've got the hot NFTs and the top sales of all times. Now, if you want to absolutely grail both of these categories, you want to be seeing your hot NFTs being your most recent drops, right? There would be people again who would argue against that. But because we move so quickly in the Web3 field, I want the people to be trading what I'm currently offering, right? So I would say at the minute I'm winning hot NFTs because you can see that miniature Jesus there. He was in the action figure drop. The blend token was in the action figure drop, and you know there's the action figure pack. So the top 4 are from my last drop. So I see that as a win. Where I'm not winning is my top sales of all time because that's stuff that wasn't produced this year. It was produced in the first quarter of last year. So for me, I need to do something about that. But again, I wouldn't know that I needed to do something about that unless I was looking at this data. If you go to the accounts tab, that can tell you a lot of information as well, because we can start to see on a real level who's collecting your stuff and in what volumes they're collecting it, right? Which is very important because you start to understand who your key collectors are. Now, I've got a reward program with Drawn Company, so I basically have a rule by you either buy $15 worth of stuff or you collect 30 NFTs, and then you get free packs at launch. You'll take a share of the profits when we do drops, AAA drops, and you'll get access to free drops periodically. So that's sort of like a carrot for people to encourage them, really, those people who are just starting out, because obviously we've got a lot of accounts here. All the people on that page are probably OGs. And I'd say, if I'm being brutally honest with you, probably around 30% of them are still actively collecting. Where it gets really interesting though with the accounts is in the templates tab. it not only tells you information about the template, but we can see where that destination NFT is. So you can start to really do active targeting. You can say, okay, what type of account is looking at or buying or holding this sort of NFT that I produced, because it might be completely different from that of another schema. That way, you can start to actively target your stuff towards people, which again is invaluable and not something you get in the real world. Um, if nothing else, it just gives you an idea of the type of people that who are holding your stuff. Um, yeah, so let's move on to blocks.io. So blocks.io, if you go to any account on the blockchain, you can then have a look at what the balance of that person's account is, right? And you can see this for anyone on the blockchain, any wallet that's there. And again, let's go back to the Web3 Balancing Act. There is no point. You haven't got a hope in hell if you're starting to sell your NFTs above the amount of wax that's in that current account. I'm not saying that people aren't going to see your stuff and they're going to immediately walk out and get more wax, but just think how difficult that is, how many blocks you're putting in. So when you're looking at sort of like, and this is really hardcore stuff. We're in the seventh level of hell for most people because we're having a proper data discussion. All I'm telling you is, and do you know what? I don't really use this. I'm just telling you that this is available to you, because to be honest, when you're selling NFTs that are priced, or at a pack, even at below 40 wax, you don't really need to be considering the amount of wax that's in that, that person's account. So let's move on, last but not least, to the Wax Market Cap, which is a great tool. So it's www.waxmarketcap.com. It's run by NFT Hive. And here you're going to see your total sales aggregated from all of the marketplaces. Because remember, on Atomic Hub, that's not the true amount of sales. That's just secondary sales. So now I've got a total sales of 13.3k. I've got a market cap of 24.2k. Now the market cap is what the blockchain estimates your collection will be worth if probably not going to happen. Every NFT in that collection is sold tomorrow at the prices that it's valued at based on previous sales. So that's real data. So it's not ever going to happen, is it? No one's going to come around and think, oh, I'll buy 38,000 drawn company NFTs, but it's a good indicator. And what I do is, and I do this with a lot of different projects to understand where I am in the pecking order, but I like to calculate. So I like to basically divide the amount of assets via the sales and then the amount of assets by the market cap, because then you can understand how much you're selling this stuff for at a base price and how much the blockchain thinks that stuff is worth. And you'll see a sort of like a great ups and downs. And it's important, if you want to compare yourself to another project, that you have to find someone who is doing exactly the same sort of stuff with you. Because I'm not going to show you the spreadsheet now because it's not updated. And I went to update it, but it's just too much to do. But yeah, if anyone wants to see that, I'm happy to share it with them. 2,279 users as well there. So let's move on to sorry, I'm coughing now. Let me have a drink. So we'll move on to Nefty, and then it's over. I promise you. So in Nefty is great because if you do a drop on Nefty blocks, and I don't know if this is the same with NFT Hive, you can export all the data from your sales into an Excel spreadsheet, which is great because we're going to be using that data in a minute. I do this all the time. Every drop that I do, once it's done and dusted, generate the export, even if I'm not interested, because there'll be some point where I think, oh, hang on, I've done something similar to this. Let's look at the wallets. Let's look at where they are in the world, because that's important. You get a country code. You can identify what market, your collectors are in, what languages they speak, and the amount of stuff they were buying, the amount of wax they spent. This was a free drop I did. But the beauty of that is if you're ripping this information out into a spreadsheet, you can then put it back in, because if you've got holders wallets, which I have, all of my holders wallets are linked to a social account, so I can contact these people in the case of my management designates, which is this year's people who have come on board, and my Exordium OGs. I can just slap them into a whitelist, and then it's as simple as that. Done and dusted. So what do you do with your data, right? Make sure you're capturing it into a spreadsheet, and make sure you're starting now, right? Start just looking at the data, putting it into a spreadsheet, matching it up to accounts. It's not that hard. You can find someone's account by just typing it into Twitter, right? So if you've got a WAM, you can 8 times out of 10 you can link it back to an account. There are still people, I've got holders who have got, like you saw there, some of those people I'm not in contact with, who have got 800 NFTs, because I can't link back the accounts. But you will be able to do this the majority of times, or they'll find you. Understand who is buying what. It's essential. What type of buyers are you selling to? And what else are they currently buying? Because you can click through, you can see the type of things that they like. Everything's in there. Do you know what? They're mini billboards, but for other people's NFT projects. So if you've got a collector who's just come on board, look at what they're buying, because they'll tell you very easily by the type of things they do. You don't even need to go in that in depth. Once you know what you're doing, you can just look at the collections. Focus on your current collectors. This is important. Again, I like to say to people, I've got almost 100. I've got over 100 now. Sorry, people on my management program. A lot of those are OGs who just aren't interested anymore. So there's no point in me marketing to those guys anymore. They're not here. Focus on those who are collecting now. And compare yourself with other projects. So collective sigh, right? If you've made it through the data, right? So you were thinking, God, he's going to shut up in a minute, and now he's put the word homework on the screen. There's going to be a lot of hate out there, right? So please, just bear with me. So go away, have a look at those, those aspects of your data, right? Before you plan your drop and your swag for NFTOPIA. So I know it's boring. Oh my God, he's telling me to go away and look at numbers. Look at the numbers first, right? And I'm passionate about this. If you've got any questions, contact me, because I will let you know what I think is the best way for you to go about that, right? Now, this really breaks my balls, right? We the NFTOPIA account will give away free retweets, right? They will like your stuff. I don't care what it is. If you're in this room, if you're a collector, well, collectors as well, you can do this. I don't want to be telling collectors what to do, because they're technically customers, right? But if you're a creator, right, and collectors, you're more than welcome to do this. If you're a creator, go and do a tweet, right, tagging the NFTOPIA and saying that you're attending the event, right? It doesn't need to be anything more than that. If you've already got something in mind, just tease something, right? You'll get the retweet and you'll get your like, right? It's as simple as that. Please just do it. Unrelated now, go and set up a thread account ASAP. I can't tell you whether it's going to be the next best tool for us as NFT creators, but just go on there, start looking at what other people are tweeting, threading, and then thread similar. I'm Drawn Company _NFT, so you can give me a follow. And look at the type of stuff I'm doing. Look at, if you bang in wax, you'll find there are some creators on there. Senor Lupe's on there. RadaQuest is on there, and Nifty BC's on there. And I'm just throwing a lot of SHIT and seeing what sticks at the minute. But the one interesting thing is I keep on throwing stuff out there, and I'm actually getting engagement straight away from people who don't follow me. So it's not like the big T, where you've got to fight with algorithms and stuff like that. And we will go into that more later on. So this is the last thing, right? And then I promise it's over. It's done. Oh my God, it's done. So, when I'm saying tweet us, look at these 2 tweets. So when I wanted to do Drawn Company X anime as an action figure collection, all I did was put the logo. This is on the right hand side, and I put Drawn Company and anime into Google Translate, put the Digicon logo on there. I created 0 NFTs, but I knew that I wanted to do an anime based collection. It was about 4 weeks out. It was the same period. And I thought, well, I'll just do this now. Tweet at NFTOPIA, DCX anime coming. Got the retweet, got the like. People were interested. I've done the same thing with Karen Berger. So this tweet was done on the 25th of June. I work fast, right? So don't get intimidated. But I hadn't come up with anything for Drawn Company. I had the assets at that point, the 3D assets. They've been with me for a long time. Now's the right time to do it. So what did I do? I wasn't even sure on the logo or the colors I wanted to use. Didn't matter. I just put the logo, created the logo, called it the startup edition, and slapped the NFTopia logo. There's nothing there that's committal. I'm just saying we're bringing that to NFTopia 3. And you know what, right? If I wasn't bringing that to NFTopia 3, I've made no promises at that point. I just put out a tweet saying, actually, it's not the right time. We'll do it. We'll do it later on. So we'll see you next week. I applaud you all for sitting through that, because to be honest, as regards to a first week, that was pretty hard going, man. There must be a lot of people out there who are like drumming their fingers on the side. But I really hope you've learned something, and I really hope that you'll come back. I promise you, the marketing stuff next week will be more fun. We'll look at some more sort of like cool stuff. We're going to look at some of the projects who I think have done a really good idea, who've executed marketing really well. We're going to have a look at Karen Berger as well, because I like shameless self-promotion. And we'll just do an across the board bit. I collect best practice all the time to show you guys, and we're also going to look at slide design. So that is it. You can stop the screen share, sir. Well done. Congratulations if you're still here. This always frightens me because I'm currently looking at a blank screen, and I really hope that there's still people sitting on the couches when I get back.
Well, that's great. That was a lot of info, and I'm gonna I want to regurgitate some of it. I want to summarize some of it, and open up the floor for you guys to also join in, whether it's with text or voice. But yeah. Very, very cool. So we're focusing on those few topics today. So what he just went over. So when we can talk about like slide design and stuff like that next week. Drop strategies, swag strategies. Of course, the swag is the prizes that you're giving away, and then the drops is what you're creating to drop from your collection. As he said, the drops, they don't have to be collab NFTs with NFTopia. We encourage it if you want to. You're welcome to use our logo and do like a collab drop. But as the point is, it's an exclusive drop of some kind for the weekend that you're pushing as your main event, a big thing that you're doing that you would otherwise do without the weekend, but now you're going to center it on this weekend. That way you can get all the promo out of it. Whenever you guys have drops, let us know too. So we're gonna have a booth that showcases all the drops this time, like the auction house, but with drops too. So whenever you get some, let us know what they are so we can put them there. But diving deeper into that, he gave us some insight on what, like, the size of the drops. I kind of like how you showed it as a little comparison: cheap drops, expensive drops. This one's based on quality, and this one's harder to sell. These are stuff you have to weigh out in your collection. I want to say that it also depends on the collection. A lot of them it depends on what you're doing and what you've already done and what. So like with ours, our stuff is very inexpensive. We give out tons and tons of stuff all the time. It's not as suitable as one that's going to have premium sold out ones, if you know what I mean. So you kind of got to weigh it against what you're doing, but the points were made really well, I think, in the presentation on what you want to do, and also this whole thing was recorded, so if anybody can go back and rewatch the VOD, it's going to be on YouTube too if you want to dive in more. The data analytics, that's something I don't do. I don't export things. I'm really, really busy, and sometimes I don't dive in as much as I can. The way you laid it out, I think, is really good. It's things that some creators don't think about that they can do. Like, look at your tools, see what's there, see when things are selling well, see how they're, like, what they are that are selling well, and then all the way down to exporting the buyers from your drops to get their wallets, and it does have the country code there, things like that.
Yeah.
And then looking into, look, even if this helps you plan out your next drop, what you want to do next, because like he said, you can look at the wallets that bought, and just that's that's what the blockchain gives you, is you can look at their activity and see what they're doing. So if you notice somebody bought a whole bunch of your stuff, and that's not just drops, you can do that on the market too. That's something that I might do. If I see somebody bagging a whole bunch from the market, I'm gonna go to that wallet. I'm gonna see what else does he have, what other things has he bought, what other transfers, other similar collections, things like that, and that gives you a lot of info on your buyers. Of course, without them even being in your community at all. That's just only going through their wallet. So even better is if you can tie that to a person, like he says. I think you're doing it by forms, like a whitelist. How are you tying?
Yeah.
So we have a whitelist too. Now, obviously, those people have to fill out that form. But if you have a community, get yourself a whitelist form of some kind. It doesn't have to mean that it gives you extra perks. Even better if it does. But the point is, you're attaching a Discord account or a Twitch or a Twitter to the wallet, and then that way, every time I don't know that there's a wallet, I just hit the search in my form and I'll have somebody.
Sorry, can I just add to that? So first of all, thanks for bringing up the secondary market, because I didn't include the fact that you can look at your recent sales right in there, because I was talking about the collection page. So I'm really glad you brought that up. But that's exactly, you've already said it. Look for people who are buying stuff. Try and message them, thank them, do all sorts of things. People don't necessarily want to be publicly thanked all the time, because some people don't like that sort of stuff. So you have to be careful with it. But you can easily sort of like just tie that account back to, a social media site, and then get it banged into your spreadsheet with maybe a column that says, this person bought X NFTs on that date, so I need to reward them.
Yeah, it's up to you on how much effort you put in, but exactly, the data is there to do that and to dive in if you want. And if you want to go as far as identifying wallets and then putting yourself a note like, hey, I want to thank them or invite them to my community later.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that might be worth your effort, because like I think you mentioned, like all it takes is one person that likes your stuff, and if he gets into your community, now they're going to be part of your brand. They're going to buy from you in the future, and that's what you really want.
Yeah, man. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course. The swag prizes. So yeah, I want to touch a little bit too about the free drops. So free drops and free claims. We love that we're able to give away NFTs to our community for different things. It's very inexpensive for us to do. A lot of us do a lot of it. But if you just create a free drop or a claim link, and it doesn't even have to be public. Like if it's public, it's going to get botted immediately. There's bots that actually scan the blockchain for free drops, and they're going to bot it immediately. Now you can make it a hidden drop, and it takes that away. But like he said, people will share it. It will happen 100%. Somebody is going to. It's even sadder when you have to be inside the metaverse. Like some person actually came in here to get it. But it's going to happen. Somebody is going to share the claim link or the drop link. And as soon as that happens, the bots get it again. It happened to me with my collection. It happened to somebody's NFT during last NFTOPIA that they weren't aware of. And all we could see is, there's no RAM. Collection's out of RAM. We can't buy their blend piece. Because the RAM, you add more RAM, whoop, the RAM's gone in seconds. Why? Why is that? Oh, well, you look on the
I remember that.
The new mints, and you see, there's hundreds being minted. They got botted. There are ways around it, and you just have to go by those ways. You don't want your stuff being botted. All they're doing is buying up your RAM. Exactly that. They're killing your RAM because they don't do anything with those NFTs, those bots. They're going to keep them. They might try to flip them, but when I have thousands of them that are minted, hundreds of them, you get the idea. So some things that you can do is exactly what he said. If you want to give out something for free, just put a form down. Just make a Google form, put that into your slides, put it as a link, capture the wallet, and then you could airdrop them. So they're not going to get them instantly that way. But if they're on the form, or if you want to put in a date and say, hey, this is when the airdrop will happen, then that's how it can be done.
or you can have the drop there. What I normally do is I normally have the drop there live and just say, look, if you want to be whitelisted, then fill out the form and I'll be updating the whitelist every 24 hours or something like that. As
True.
long as you're
So
clear.
true. So there is an option to add a whitelist of addresses into the drop. That is a thing to do too as a creator. If you wanted to add the wallets into your whitelist in the drop, and then they'll be able to access the drop. You would have to update that kind of whenever, like you say, and it does cost CPU every time you do that. So if you don't have a lot staked, it's going to start saying if you want to update it a lot. But you could update it like once a day or something, whatever you say. That's an option. Or you could airdrop them too. Either way, I use the airdrop. I use Bounty Block, and I'll just ping it out to everybody that filled the form. There is also a proof of ownership method, which does work well too, where you have to hold something to get this free something. But of course, then they would need to have that first something, which ideally would cost something. But that is a way to do, like Futures Relic does this as an example in his booth. He'll have one whitelist pass NFT. So you have to buy that one, but then once you hold it, now you can claim free drops all weekend long, and he'll have a new free one every 4 hours or something like that. So that's an option too. If they have something, or maybe something that you already have in your collection, maybe you don't have to make something new, but something that you have that's not free to get, however it is that they get it, and then if they have it, now they can get the free drop. So there's a few different ways to go about it.
And a good rule for what you need to price stuff at is the what's the bot called? Honeycomb, right? Because Honeycomb is meant to be free, right? But obviously, by offering unlocking the bot with an NFT, they started off doing it free. But of course, millions of people were, well, not millions, thousands of people were downloading it. What they've set it to now is 6 wax, because that puts the bots off, right? So, like, maybe think about that. That might have gone up since I did it, but I found that interesting that they come to this way to make sure that they can always beat the bots by always.
Yeah, that's actually another strategy about it. Don't make it free, but make it like 1 wax or 0.1 wax even. So that's actually how we sell in Consumer Break. It's how we sell our promos whenever we're in season, and it's a 1 week drop. And it's 0.1 wax. That's all it is. Now, people can still buy a whole bunch that way. So it still depends on what you're trying to do. But if this is an NFT that you're intending to give out for free anyway, and you don't care about how many are minted, but you don't want it to be botted, and you don't care if somebody might get 10, 20 of them, then maybe you just want to list it for like 0.1 wax or 1 wax, because that takes the bots out of the equation, the free bots. If there's somebody that really wants something, they can make a bot that, there's still bots that can't get them. And it still happens. Even the pins, our NFTOPIA pins, the blend, when we blended 3 rare ones to get an epic, that first one still got botted, but they still had to buy them though. So that bot went and actually bought from the market. It bought 3 rare pins. I looked at it. I was like, what? But that's different than a bot that's just completely spamming your free stuff, like repeatedly. It'll just keep doing it and doing it. The point is, if you're making the account buy something, even if it's 1 wax, it's gonna remove all the bots that get free stuff. So there's a few different things to do there, and we can recommend. I mean, all of them are viable. It depends on what you're really trying to do and what you're trying to.
But yeah, I would honestly say though, if you are going down the free route and you don't want to use any of the sort of like the suggestions that we've had, maybe just consider keeping the free stuff for the swag.
I was just gonna say that too. So these are all strategies for yourself to be able to give away stuff. But here at NFTOPIA, if you just want to take advantage of the swag, by all means, we'll do it for you. So all you have to do is send the prizes to us. The instructions are in the Discord. It's just a wallet. And then we're going to facilitate a bounty block contest with the swag. It's going to have a ton of prizes in it. Randman already mentioned that Sune sent 100 of them. So some of these projects might give out like 100 things. Some of them might do 5 to 10. Some of them might give out something to everybody that fills out the swag bounty block. And that's fine too. But basically, if it's not infinite, if it's not for everyone, if you have some kind of cap, like even if it's 100, you can just send them all to us. I'll create the bounty block. People can enter by doing socials. We'll add your social in. They'll also get entries for holding our NFTs. And then at the end of it, we'll send it all out. So it'll all be based on us. You don't have to do anything else. Or if you want to send something to everybody in the whole convention that did the swag, then just let us know that and what the info is, and we'll get you the list afterward, and it'll be an airdrop then. If you have not used Bounty Block's mass minting tool yet, it's easy to use. You do have to apply to it before you can get an account and actually start using it, because they approve accounts before that. They don't want bots sending out junk to people. But they're very cool guys over at Bounty Block, and once you get set up with one of those, you can send NFTs, you can mass mint them, you can mass send them from the wallet, all just using lists. So, and then you use a comic separated list to do that. And all of this, we're here to help. So if anybody got questions, if it's your first time doing these things, just holler. Me or John will help, any other creators. But these types of tools are just a blessing for the stuff we do. When you have to send hundreds of NFTs out, that's what makes it possible. Things like that. I did see Bloody Zealous. He had a question earlier. Any pointers if you're debuting your very first project at NFTOPIA? Well, first off, congrats on. Granted, I don't think you're saying that you have a project now, but maybe you're thinking about it. Congrats on taking that leap, first of all, and thinking about maybe creating a project. You're in the right place. This is a good place to start. And I mean, I would say that most of the tips apply to a new project too. You're not going to have that data analytics as much. You're not going to have as much data, especially if you haven't even done a drop yet. But a lot of the rest of it is similar. It's like you want to decide on what your project is and what it's going to be, the model of it. There's a lot of different models. Even if it's only art, if you don't have a game or anything, if you're making art, there's still a lot of models in there, like what John Company does. That's an art project. Like what Consumer Break does without the app side of it, our cards, our NFTs. It's an art project, but we have a model around it. We have packs, and we have blends, and we have seasons, and we have the perks, the utilities that go for the better rarities, and how are people obtaining those rarities and things. All of these it's just a creative. I like to call it a creative playground. It's whatever we want to do. The tools allow it. So it's whatever you want to plan. You can do things similar to others. You can make things your own. But the beauty of it is anybody can do it. You don't need to code anything. It's all there, and it's just whatever you can dream up and put in the effort to do. Maybe even work with someone else if you're alone, but you don't know how you can achieve what you want. Maybe you're not an artist and you want art. There's a lot of collab opportunities, and maybe a partner opportunities. You just have to really dig in. Here in the wax space, it's kind of pretty niche. The wax people hang out with wax people. Same thing with creators. So this convention is exactly the right place that you want to network for that type of reason. If you're just kind of feeling it out, maybe you want to start a project later in the year, you can come in as an attendee and start networking with everyone and kind of get ideas that way. So I just want to say all that. But yeah, as far as our specific tips, same thing. It's like the drop strategies, the swag strategies, how you're going to do these things. You have to still think about all these things in the same kind of way. Yeah. Take notes, Bloody Zealous. I heard that.
I'm going to add to that, right?
Yeah, go for it.
One of the things that I always say is it's one of the final ironies of humanity, the blockchain, right? Because when you're doing something innovative, you're encouraged to test something before you put it out there into the world. Now, the final irony for me is that when you make something on the blockchain, it's there forever, right? But it is the most innovative space, because it doesn't matter if you make mistakes, because people are forgiving. So even though you're creating something like an NFT, which potentially is here, will outlast me, or it will be on the servers for that amount of time. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes, because if you look at lots of collections, they're all riddled with mistakes. People are very forgiving in this space. So yeah, there is that irony of don't be worried about trying to do something different. I am constantly trying to do something different to the point where people might get fatigued from it. However, I again, it's going back to that throwing a lot of shit and seeing what sticks, right? And it doesn't matter that those things are up forever because people just forget about them if they don't if something doesn't take off, and that's why I'm going with Karen Burger, because it's slightly more premium than I've gone before. I'm doing like the full roadmap. I'm doing FAQs so that people understand that this is something that could move forward, but actually, if it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work, we're just going to leave it behind and we'll do something else. So, as regards to data, though, right, you can look at other people who are doing similar things to you, and if you want, I'm happy to sort of like do that with you as an exercise. We can do that over the next couple of
Mm-hmm.
weeks. But all I'd say is just yeah, look at what others are doing. Look at the type of wallets they're collecting that stuff, and then go from there, because that will form the backbone of everything that you do.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, yeah, you're saying throw stuff and see what's. Well, what's fun, what's interesting about your collection is you do have kind of like campaigns where you might do
Yeah,
a totally different theme around this. You call it a season, like I would call it like a
yeah,
season or something. It's a campaign. It's like a
yeah,
project within a project, essentially.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
a lot of it's still the same similar art style and kind of
yeah, yeah,
overall
yeah, yeah,
office
yeah,
theme. So
yeah,
he has like many campaigns inside of his project. I really like that approach. That's great. It allows you to do a lot of different kinds of things. So again, it depends on what you're doing. Some collections are just not really. Maybe they're fit into more of a niche as a whole, and that's fine too. Uh, what he said earlier too during the presentation is tweet whenever you have ideas. Before you go on and minting and planning an entire campaign around it, especially if you're new, especially if you're looking at creating a new project. Get onto the Twitter and engage first, and I guess the threads too. I haven't actually got an account yet,
yeah,
but maybe that could be beneficial for wax people. I'm not. Who knows? Who knows? But
maybe,
especially the Twitter. Twitter is the biggest public-facing marketing tool that crypto people use and wax people use. We have our Discords and our Telegrams, but that's for our communities. It's not public
yeah,
facing. So you want to get on Twitter and start following all the wax people if you're doing a wax project, for sure. Follow all the wax people, start engaging with them, replying them. And then whenever you start getting ideas, just throw them up on your Twitter too. Just be like, here's a little image. Here's a kind of an idea I have. You don't have to spill the beans. Just don't spill.
no,
Do some teaser. Do some teasing. You
yeah,
know, and look at that engagement. That's what Drawing Company does. That's not really what I do too much. We usually plan
I don't,
before tweeting, but I like when you said that this time and last session, like the fact that you do that, you experiment with ideas. Here's a little teaser of an
yeah,
idea, and if it gets good engagement, then you might continue with it. And if people say it's crap, then you might just scrap it. And that's not a bad
yeah,
approach.
and the thing is, sorry, they're not going to say it's crap. You just won't get any
You won't get
engagement.
any.
Like, but where I build on that is by saying you're doing something at NFTopia, by getting that free retweet, even if you've got a very small base of Twitter followers at the minute, you're engaging your reach. You're increasing your potential to get the answer that you're looking for, which is a sort of, is this going to fly or not? Is the idea, is someone going to turn around and go, oh, that's bloody cool, bloody zealous? Like, I don't know. You've got to be willing to experiment, I think.
Yeah. And then, as an exhibitor, this is a way for you to show what you have planned. Now, so I see some people have told me, oh, they're not ready for it yet. Maybe the next one, and that's fine. I understand that too. Like if you're wanting to plan something big and great, and you want to make your NFTopia debut with that thing, then maybe you do one more time. But I'd say like you can still use, even if you're not ready for your big plan, you can still use the exhibit to just to promote what you do have already, or maybe what your ideas are to come, even if you're not ready to drop yet. But it's up to you, obviously. So it's still a mini investment to get your booth. But if you did have your booth, you can at least put your brand there already, and you can put your Twitter and your stuff there. If you have a collection started already, you can still put it there, even if your big plan for the future is not here yet. You can still do that, and you would get that extra promotion for doing it. And also, I want to say this is not only for wax projects. I think everyone listening is in this space, but I know at least Zelos is a streamer. If anybody wants to promote their brand of any kind, they don't need NFTs at all. If you want to do a booth for your stream and just show what you do on your stream, that's promotion too. Obviously, you're not doing drops then, but maybe you can instead of a drop, maybe you can be promoting a special stream then, an event. Hey, I'm gonna have this extremely crazy event stream, lots of prizes on this stream. That's something you can promote. Doesn't have to be drops, but even if you don't have a booth, just attending on its own is also, you can learn a lot. You can network. You can do that kind of stuff. And if you do have your booth, remember that you do have your logo over your head too, which is a great walking billboard everywhere you go. So even if you're not at your booth, you could be everywhere. People are talking to you. Oh, that's who this is. Oh, you can look them up on Twitter. You can follow, or whatever it is, Twitch, whatever. If anyone this is the roundtable section. If anyone wants to pipe up in voice or in text, tell us what your thoughts are, or any questions about drop strategies, swag strategies, exhibiting, data analytics. Has anyone else sifted through data in the way that he said here? I feel like I want to start a little bit, at least play around a little bit. I like the idea of download or exporting your buyers from drops. I didn't actually consider. I knew you could do that. I have done it, but I didn't consider actually. Hey, every drop. Hey, this is a drop I did. Export that. Now it's here, and now I can just see who bought. You just look through them. A lot of them we already recognize anyway. Hey, these are my fans. Ooh, this wallet I don't know. Throw that into the whitelist. Oh, he's not in my whitelist. Let's check him out. I feel like that would be kind of an addicting thing to do, just to check out who's buying your stuff, especially if they bought like a lot of stuff, or if they paid a good amount for something. Dig in, and you never know. Like he said, you never know. If you don't do that, and maybe you'll never see them again. Maybe they only bought once and that was it. But maybe all it would have taken is to follow them on Twitter and say something nice, and they'd be like, hey, that was nice of that creator. Now I'm going to get into their Discord. Now I'm going to learn more. You never know. And the data is there. You just have to put in the effort to do it. But if you haven't exported it, then it is in Excel. And once it's in Excel, there's a lot of different ways to format that and analyze it, right? That's a whole industry. Data analyzing. And I'd say Mr. Funny Guy here, he would know a lot more about that. That's what you do, right? Spreadsheets? So yes, I do a lot of spreadsheets. So if anybody has questions about Excel, just a different thing, because I've also learned, I took a class in high school, but that's nothing. There's so much stuff you can do in Excel with all the formulas and doing different things, and I learned a lot too over the years. That has helped me a lot. I've been able to do things with data in ways that I couldn't have without like actual tools and things. Yeah, you get the point. So, a lot of info here. Feel free to watch back, anybody. But if anyone has questions, throw them at us now. Do you have more things you want to ramble about, Drawn? Also,
no. Yeah, sorry, not really. I think I would really like to get questions off people. Mm-hmm. I think everyone will be sitting in the Twitch or in the room. Just ask a question. There's no silly questions. Even if you just want to ask me, like just anything, it doesn't matter. Challenge us as well. If you think that you know better, right? I've said this in my tweet. We're here to learn. Every day is a school day, so we're gonna learn stuff from
That's right.
from the questions that you ask, and we can also learn stuff from having conversations
Yeah. We're not
with anyone.
professionals here. We're also just
Nope.
independents going at it. We're not the biggest collections in wax, and we're always learning stuff every day. So it's great, even when there's more experienced creators that chime in and to stuff like this. This helps everybody. So,
Yeah.
also, right there's a form. Everybody watching, if you can fill that out. I mean, particularly if you're a creator or plan to be one in the future, fill this form out. That lets you know that that's going to count you as being attended here today. And if you attend the next 2 sessions as well, on the 15th and the 22nd, then you'll get a free Nuvo code to put into your slides that we'll check out during the convention. One random person will also get a free booth for the next convention. So just make sure to do that. Throw any questions at us. I love seeing some creators here with us, right here in the space.
Can we list the ways to make drops happen again?
The ways to make drops happen? You mean
So
like the
like
free
the
ones?
ways so we can protect ourselves from bots, and then
Yeah,
also
so
like
free.
yeah.
Yeah, free drops. Sure. But quick shout out though to our creators here: Waffles Kitty and Drawing Company, and Axzilla, Humble Drawing. Welcome. Lembus is here. I saw Robert here earlier, or Brandon. I mean, great. Thank you all for being here, and excited to have you guys be exhibitors, and hopefully learn something. Yeah, with the whole the having free drops, and you want to do giveaways, and that's great. I do lots and lots of giveaways. One way to complete, as far as this weekend goes, this NFTOPIA weekend goes, one way to just put it all in our hands is just to send us the NFTs, and then we'll put them into the swag bounty block and we'll deliver them. That's a really easy way to do it. But if you want to do something from your own booth, which I'd recommend that too. You can give away swag prizes, but then also have stuff in your booth, so that way people are seeing an incentive to go there, especially if you share that. Like, hey, come to our booth and get this free drop. But yeah, it shouldn't be a public drop that's just free. And it shouldn't be just a claim link or a hidden drop that's just free. So some ways about it is just to list it for more than 0, but still super cheap. So if you just list it for 1 wax or even 0.1 wax, it should evade the free bots. In general practice, I think the mint cost is about 0.1 wax, roughly. If it's a pack, it's a little bit more because it's per call, so it might be 0.3 wax. But if it's a single drop and you list it for 0.1 wax, then it's like breaking even on your RAM, essentially. If you're giving out free stuff for free, technically it does cost you that little bit of RAM. But anyway, if you list it for that evades the free bots. Or if you don't want to go that route and you want to make it truly free, then put in a form. That'd be your best way. Put in a Google form and ask for the wallets. And then once you have the wallets, you can do one of 2 things. You can airdrop them, the NFTs, using Bounty Block, or you can add the wallets into a whitelist inside Nifty Blocks, in the drop. So if you edit your drop and you turn it into whitelisted, you're able to add the wallets there. But every time, just so you know, every time you add more wallets there, it's going to cost CPU. So if you're planning on like, every time someone signs up, I did that a while ago. Like when I started. Every time someone signed up to the whitelist, I'm going to add them. That way they can get it. Well, you can't do that because now it's going to tell you your CPU's out if you just keep on doing it. But you can come back to it, though. You can come back to it 4 hours, 8 hours, or whatever, and do it that way if you want.
In the past, what I've done is, for anything like that, I've done a timed free drop, and I've said it's going to unlock on the Sunday. So it might be that I use that as a tool then from the booth, but then anybody that I meet elsewhere, I can just say, give me your wallet and I'll whitelist you for this, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
do you know
that's
what I mean?
True. Yeah.
So people can see that the drop's there because you've already pre-made the drop. The drop contains the information to say this is an exclusive drop. You need to visit NFTOPIA to fill out the form. And then everybody knows from the booth, if you tell them at the booth that the drop doesn't go live, but give them the link, they can then bookmark the link and then come back later on. Can I just say as well that you have to always give a massive shout out to the forms, because the first person I saw using forms at such a convention is sitting here today, and that is the awesome Mr. Humble Drawings. So that's where I got the idea from. Nice. That I could do that. So yeah, he was doing that before I did it. But again, that's a great example of where looking at other creators, you can just learn from them
Exactly.
in everything that they do.
Exactly. And right
And
here in the chat is our whitelist form as an example. I mean, you put what you want in there. So that's our actual whitelist form for our whole collection. So I have more info in there. For this, maybe you just want, just their wax, maybe their name or their whatever. I think you just made a good point, though. If you make it a drop, an actual drop, but it's whitelisted, nobody can get it unless they're on the list, then that advertises it from the drop. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
If you're just putting it on the slide like, hey, I'm going to fill out the form and you'll get the airdrop later, it doesn't show up as a drop over on NFTBlock. So just the fact that it's there means people can see it from the drops, and then they can read the description and make sure in the description to tell them, hey, fill out this form to get whitelisted. And then I'd say even put it on a time there just so they know for sure. Like, hey, I'm going to check this at X time every day, during the weekend.
And on that as well, so the old tactic of hiding drops, does not work. So another famous drawn company anecdote from when I was doing DCX Cinema, which was the first NFTOPIA, I'd set up a drop which was hidden, right? It was hidden, and I hadn't checked the mark to say that I wanted to only have whitelist accounts because I thought it would be hidden. But the people that have bots and they have communities that just look for free stuff, they go behind. They're in like the superstructure of Nifty blocks, so they're in the code, and they could see from the code that I'd created a free drop, and that way, because the listing went out, 20 NFTs just went straight away, and that has a really negative effect because then I have people coming to me in the Discord and saying, "Why didn't you tell me about this free drop? That's a bit unfair." Like, I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It was meant to be for NFTopia." But it's just gone to bots.
I didn't even.
And they,
I guess I kind of knew that, but that's even easier for them than finding a shared link. So if it's a hidden drop, they can still get it from the back end, even without a shared link. So.
And the guy sent me the link to the bot community who were, I can't remember if it was a video or if it's something, but he said, "Look, they've got your drop. They've already distributed it." And they had everything. I think it was a Telegram group.
That'll happen. So you just have to skirt around it with a whitelist. You just have to, or sending us the stuff for the bounty block, or you got that proof of ownership one. So there is that option.
And one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry. One more thing on the drops as well. If you're putting out a drop and maybe using the NFTopia logo and you're saying it's an NFTopia exclusive, people do look for the newest drops which come out. So if suddenly a lot of people are seeing that there's a lot of content coming to NFTopia, what's going to happen? Well, people are going to start, we're going to start to increase our, footfall. We're going to get people signing up who weren't before. And that's a benefit for not just you, but the benefit for the community as a whole. And I've said to people in the past, and again, I'm sorry that I keep on going over old stuff, but I can only take Drawn Company to a certain level unless the people around me grow, right? Because if the people around me don't grow, right, with me, then, I'm just hitting my head against a brick wall because we're not going to onboard more people to NFTopia. We're not going to onboard more people to the Wax blockchain, which is what we need. Everybody who's on the Wax blockchain probably knows that I'm here now in some form. So you have to bear that in mind. We've all got to work as a team together and grow together, because if we don't, then the whole thing's not going to work, and we'll all have to go back to our normal lives and like watch the Kardashians or something, which nobody wants.
I don't know about all that, but I hear you. Whenever you make new drops, especially if they're an NFTopia exclusive, you don't have to title them or have the logo in them, but at least put it in the description or something that it's an exclusive for this. Make it known that this is an event for drops. Randman here again, reminding what Futures Relic does. If you get they use the proof of ownership. If he sells just one whitelist pass, you do have to buy it, but then that keeps the bots out. And then once you have your pass, you can get those free drops. He does every 6 hours. So it's up to you. But if you wanted to give something out periodically all weekend, or just one thing, or then if it made sense to hold something, whether it's a new something new like a pass, he actually makes a whitelist pass for the weekend, or something else. Then that's an option too.
So the collections do lanyards, like they do. Aesthetic Monte's done a lanyard. Broken Dolls has done the same strategy and it's worked before. Like they've sold out of that type
the
of thing.
proof of ownership can be any template too. It doesn't have to be your NFTs. Just saying, you could have somebody do it if they have the collector's badge. That would be a neat thing to do. Hey, here's a free drop, free NFTs if you have NFTOPIA's collector's badge or a pen or something. You know, it's up to you. But you can, if you wanted, you could choose NFTOPIA NFTs as what you need to hold to get it. So that's an option.
You can't, sorry to stop you there. You can't, right? I can't do that because I don't stake any NFT. So that's not a tool that's available. You have to be a certain level in Nifty blocks to be able to do that.
Really?
So if you can, yeah. I can't choose, and I might be wrong. Let me just go and check, right? But I can only choose because I've tried before because I wanted to use it for Comic-Con.
I don't know if I've done it, so I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's only your own, but I thought it could be any.
Yeah, I think
or it could be a staking level as well. So Nifty blocks used to have, I mean, you still do. You can still stake your Nifty and get perks, but they used to have the perks you needed to stake a lot of Nifty to do things that we all really need, like scheduling a blend. You couldn't schedule a blend before, and other things. You had to stake a whole bunch of Nifty to be able to do them. And I do, so I still have it staked. So therefore, maybe I can do everything because of that. But they also lifted a lot of those. So now, as of like last fall, you're able to do a lot of things with no Nifty staked, including the blend, the scheduled blend, and some other things. So you'll just have to look at what's there in Nifty blocks and their tiered levels to see if you want something that's up here. And maybe that is one of them. That's true.
But also, I've had other collections swear by it. But whenever I've done something which is proof of ownership, I found that it gets botted quicker. Now, I haven't tried it in a long time. I tried it once with the Jurassic Park arcade, which you saw tonight as one of the highest sellers. But there was only 50 of them, and they all went to bots, even though you had to own every single one of the NFTs. But what happened was the bot had worked out that it wasn't going to cost much money to get all of the NFTs, and obviously valued the NFT higher. And they just swapped between 50 different accounts and claimed the NFT.
Okay, yeah. So this is another point of, I mean, the bots. Man, it's hard to fight bots. But this is a point to be had with the proof of ownership, is that you can multi-account with it. That's true, unless you make your proof non-transferable. So this is a good point to bring up, because what people can do with that is they just hold what they need. They get the free thing, and then they transfer that what they hold to another wallet, and then now that wallet can go and get the free thing. And you can do that if the thing is good enough. If they want it good enough, then they could just do that and do that and do that. Unless that thing that you're doing is non-transferable, which I think Futures Relic is non-transferable. So he's selling an NFT, his whitelist pass, where you can't transfer it, and then you got to have it to do it. And that'd be the way to do it. Yeah. But sometimes you don't want those things to be non-transferable. It depends what it is. Because that means you can't. They're not on the market, and you can't trade them.
I think though, next time I do my reward scheme, which I'll review in December as a bit of fun, as a Christmas present to everybody, like at the minute it is transferable, but I'll turn around to them this time and say, look, if you want the rewards for 2024, it's going to be non-transferable. You're going to have to claim it. You're whitelisted. If you want the non-transferable, get it. If you don't get it, you're not going to get the rewards. I always thought it was better to have it transferable, but with that sort of thing, I think
you get manipulated. This was also a good chat we had last session with Skunky Chunks, and it's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. But with a collection like Skunky Chunks that's gotten as big as they are, and they have these problems tenfold. So they have bots all the time trying to snipe the good drops that they have and the blends, And it's very hard to fight them when they're that big because they're relentless and they'll do everything they can to do that.
Yeah.
And what they do is they'll get the drops ahead of time, and then they'll sell them they'll flip them on the market for a lot higher, and then all the community's crap out of luck, which is not something a creator wants, and especially not Skunky Chunks, an amazing creator that's for the community. That's not what he wants. They ended up using non-transferable NTTs. They actually have a series of them, and you have to get them by buying them or by being inside their community and proving yourself and requesting it. I don't know all the details, but it's like after that they do that for a while, but then the bots, they come back. They get those eventually, and then when the bots then they always analyze their wallets. So the team over at Skunky Chunks, not just Tufu, but the other couple guys there, Ham Crusher and Jozo, they filter for hours on hours on end, studying the wallets, data analysis, right? To try to fight these bots, and every time that it's a problem again, they'll release a new NTT, non-transferable pass, and that's just how it goes. So if you're a longtime Skunky Chunks fan, you probably have like a whole slew of NTTs just so you can get a drop. But that's how the blockchain works. This is just things that you have to do. Maybe in the future there's other tools to help that kind of stuff, but people make bots to do different things, and that's how it goes. But yeah, that's a lot of points to be had here and to consider for sure. So if anybody is considering all these things, yeah, just think about them. Ask us. It's a lot of good ways to do things. If you really, especially if you're new and you're really not sure, and you want to do free giveaways, just give them to us. Give them to our swag, or just do a form and airdrops. It's not that hard to do, or a form with whitelisted drops. Yeah. What else? Any other thoughts we got here? I could go over our schedule. But for the most part, this has been session 1.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Been fun. Yeah, we're actually only 3 weeks away. Oh boy, we're not 4 weeks out. We're only 3 weeks out. The hype is real. I hope you all are hyped as well. We certainly are. We're also doing a lot behind the scenes to prep for all of this. Yeah, a couple housekeepings here. We do have this giant giveaway, so if you have not done this yet and you're here, here's a tweet to reply a screenshot of you being in the metaverse. So if you haven't done this yet, come on now, what have you been waiting for? Go ahead and take a screenshot of being in the metaverse and reply to that tweet, and you'll get a free common pin NFT just for doing it. That's a free claim, and also one random person that does it will get a 100 wax giveaway. So make sure to get in there for that one. Also, we have our treasure map blend vote. Now it's only going for like another couple hours. Really, the bounty block is ending, I think, in an hour. So it's not much time now. Oh, it's got 2.5 hours on it. So right there it is in the Twitch chat, and right here it is here. But if you wanted to just share that with your community and get them to write your name in, then maybe you can also get a piece of the treasure map collab blend. And what that's going to be is a piece of the map. Each collection gets a piece of the map. Here it looks just like, whoops. I just put in the wrong link. Whoops. That's the link to get into the space. This is the link for the map right there. But we have this really cool collab blend, and it's going to be split up into all these different pieces, and each one of these pieces is being stylized by a project and sold in their own collection for 2 wax. And then people during the convention will collect them all. They're going to drop hourly every hour. And then if you do get all the pieces, then on Sunday you'll be able to blend to get the full map that has all the different stylized pieces in it. So that'll be cool. And there'll be some nice perks for having the full map. Like before, in our past NFTOPIAs, you will get a password to a metaverse item. This time it'll be the pirate hat to go with the treasure map. And also we're doing something extra this time, a little extra tidbit. If you get the treasure map, you'll also get an airdrop and the drop access. Remember that proof of ownership we said, right? You're going to need that treasure map as a proof of ownership to get into a drop for the treasure chest. So you'll get one free one as an airdrop, and then you'll also be able to buy a treasure chest for whatever it'll end up being, not too high. The treasure chest will be a pack that has goodies from the exhibitor, so kind of like a mystery box from the online end. But gonna try to get some nice goodies in there. Kind of the best of the best from the swag is what will end up going into that pack. That way you can have the treasure map and you got your chest, right? And then we got of course, our huge schedule of events. Which while we're still here, I can just do a really quick brief run. But if anybody got questions about what we talked about, throw them down before we raid on out of here. But yeah, especially creators, do you have any more questions or thoughts about the drops, the swag, data analysis? I don't know if you wanted to show a visual of actually copying out data and what you can do with it, but it's, essentially it's all on the blockchain. If you have your wallets, you can look into the wallet and see things there. And then while in Excel, you can sort things different ways. So I would label things and then put notes on things like that. I guess we don't need a visual, but those are the topics we covered today. If anybody wants to come back with anything more, what are some topics we might hear about next week? Slides?
So slides next week, so that we can start getting prepared for slides, and then we're doing a proper marketing masterclass. So we're going to be looking at, as I said earlier, we'll look at other projects that are doing things really good at the minute. We might look at a few projects that are controversial, but they've sold out. So we'll just look at why they sold out.
Nice. So that's exciting. Y'all make sure to come back. We're in the welcome area. This is the lounge. So these booths around us, these are actually the activities booths, and they're all still here from the last one, but they're going to be updated. So this is like where you would find the info about the scavenger hunt, the blend. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
Maybe. What'd you say?
Sorry, because my earpod went off. So, but could you hear what I was saying?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what you mean. What you said last, but yeah. Oh, now you're muted.
My earpods lost their battery, so
it keeps muting you. Okay,
sorry.
Your earpods telling you to shut up.
yeah. What was that? What was I saying? Sorry, where was I?
I'm not sure.
Oh man, what question did you ask? What we doing next week?
Oh, what we're doing next week? Yeah, no, we heard that. Slides and a master class. Yeah,
slides and a master class. We're going to do a Waffle Kitty's case study. Woo, 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 woo. Okay. Because she's going to tell everybody about the benefits of working with another creator to sort of like start formulating ideas and making the initial strives into Web3. But yeah, it's going to be cool. Come back, and I promise you no data next week.
Data's fun though. Data's how you make things efficient.
Yeah.
Cool. Did some attendees have problems with the swag and treasure hunt forms and instructions last time? I want to say that there was a lot last time. I mean, there's a lot this time too, and it can be confusing for folks if they're not gonna read the slides and stuff. We do have an hour at least here during the schedule. The NFTOPIA drops at lounge hour here on Friday, where I will go over all the activities, so whoever's there, that'll help. But yeah, essentially the booths are here. So this is the swag booth. It's going to show all the swag items that are here, and the links are right here as part of the booth. So you'll get you'll get the swag bounty block like right there. You'll just be able to click it and you'll be able to enter that way. And then there's also a whitelist form that you'll need to fill out as well. If nobody has filled out instructions, but it's been clarified a little more for this event, yeah, we're going to try to make things as clear as we're capable of doing. At the end of the day, people still got to read something or at least listen to us say it. You know, how else do you get information across? But the booths will be there, and we're going to also put it into the inverse description when you go into the main event and try to have some things there. One main thing that everybody should for sure do is fill out the whitelist form. And there were a lot of people that didn't. So again, the form is right here on the swag booth. If you haven't done it yet, I can put the thing right here. But basically, that will link you up your inverse name to your wallet. That way, we can get your Nuvo badges and anything else if we need your wallet for your inverse name, phishing and stuff like that. It helps me a lot when I can put your address into the form and put your name in and get your address. But that's also where the swag booth will be, the bounty block will be, which will have, like last time, it'll have a whole bunch of entries for socials and for NFT holding. Also, well, you'll just see when we get there. I think we're going to also have a separate bonus swag only for people that have collector's badges, and you'll be entering with those badges. It won't have nearly as much stuff, but it'll be like a collector's badge swag, and then also the main swag, and then also the treasure chest for the map. It kind of all depends on how much swag we get too. So at the end of the day, it depends how much we have to give out. But these exhibitors are amazing. Any exhibitors that are listening, if you want to give away stuff for swag, we talked about it all this whole hour. But yeah, start planning that up and get it to us. It can be as soon as possible, or it could be during the last week. I'll make sure that we get it in there, and then you'll get in there. Then you'll get in there, and if you have some good stuff, then I'll separate that. If you have some nice stuff that sells well on the market, I'll make sure to put that into the treasure chest or the badge swag. Really quick, right here's the schedule. You'll see on Friday, July 28th, right at the top of the morning as far as here in the U.S. anyway. I know these things go late into the night for our friends across the pond, but we have to choose. I guess we could start super duper early here and then end a little earlier for you, but this is how we did it before. This is how we're going to keep doing it. We'll have AMA streams every hour. Also, like I said, every hour we'll be dropping one of those map pieces. So essentially, we've been calling these 1 hour AMAs in the past. This is actually going to be a 45-minute AMA, and then I'm factoring in the movement. So before, it's going to be the same, but an official movement time. So this time, at a quarter till the hour, that's when the piece drop will happen. That's also when the hourly bounty block will end. And then I'll just spend 5 minutes pulling those winners and like watching the drop. And then 10 minutes before the hour, we're officially going to move to the next place. So you'll have a 10-minute break spot there. You can go there immediately like I would, or you can do your bathroom break, whatever. You'll have 10 minutes for every hour. And then as soon as the hour hits, we'll just instantly start with that AMA. And that's the plan for that. And then, yeah, towards the second half of the day, we have the activities AMA and the collector's badge drop. That'll be right here where we're sitting in the lounge. Then I'm going to do a scavenger hunt walkthrough. I'm going to actually do the scavenger hunt on the stream instead of just telling people the tasks and to do them, where I'm going to actually do them too. And then if anybody wants to follow along, then we can do them all together. We can go all in a group and get all our tasks, get all the stuff on Twitter, and you'll get your badges. Then we'll do our social blocks. This is 3 hours of everybody being encouraged to hang out everywhere. Basically, as many exhibitors as we can get to man their booth. This is the time for them to do that and to host events and AMAs of their own without me. And then people can go wherever they want. Hopefully there'll be games too and things. There's going to be streamers running around. Bloody Zealous, I know, is going to be running around on stream. This is when I'm actually going to turn my stream off the hype train ends, and then I'm gonna still run around as an attendee and try to get into the other streams as myself. So you won't have something central to look at during this hours. It's meant to be a free for all. You go where you want, but there will be a lot of content on stream too and on Twitter. Hopefully it's gonna be a really, really fun time. And of course, that's still open. That's open to happen whenever these things aren't going too. So whenever the talent show is over, as long as you guys want to hang all night long, power to you. Power to you. Some of us need to sleep before the next day's AMAs start, but power to you. Yeah, the day ends off with the talent show. NFTOPIA's got talent. I do have a few contestants already, but we'd like some more. So if anybody has some talents they'd like to showcase, do you know how to sing, or to do any other talents? We have a magic set from Sasha. That's fun. Or other things. Holla. Let me know. I do have a form for it, but you can just let me know and we'll schedule it up. There will be prizes. There'll be judges based on scores. I think we're going to have a community judging based on scores too. And we'll have prizes of NFTs and wax and cash. If there's any contestants that aren't into wax, I think we'll convert the wax to cash for them too. I'm asking a few friends of mine. I don't know if they're going to come on yet or not, but we'll see. Anyway, Saturday, same deal. We got AMAs through until the afternoon when we're doing the main stage. We're going to have a few keynote speakers. And then we'll have some panels. There'll be a couple panels with law in Web3 and Web3 gaming. And you'll just have to stay tuned on who's speaking on those. But that's what's happening there. Then we have a Nouveau code hunt. That's the codes that are going into the slides that you can scan to get points. I'm going to go through. It's not going to be 70 points this time. Not at all. It's not going to be every booth either. We're selling them this time. So the Nouveau codes will only be in the booths that bought it with their package. And you're only going to scan something like 20 to 30 codes total. You'll have some 2-pointers and things. We'll get those details when we get there, but point is you're not going to scan so many of them throughout it. But I'm going to look through them. So through this hour, I'm going to go to the booths that have the Nouveau code and actually go and check them out, do a quick scan through their slides. So that'll happen on stream too if you do have a Nouveau code, and then you can scan them if you're there with us. And then we're going to have the social block again and another session of the talent show. Hopefully we'll have contestants for both nights. And then Sunday, a little bit different. We have the AMAs split into 20-minute sessions with the moving break. So it's 2 per hour with a whole bunch of different projects here. And then the game show with BDAO is right in the middle of the day. Devil's Advocate, where myself and Sune and Pirates of the Degen, that'd be Priscilla, Valorant Vellum, and also Captain Degen and myself. We're going to go on his show, and it'll be an extremely funny time where we are defending funny topics, debate style. So we're going to have some kind of funny topic, and we're going to debate it. Shouts to Waffles Kitty, who did it last month, and it's on his YouTube. It was a very fun time. The rest of the day, some more AMAs. We're going to have a consumer break Waffles Kitty one here, actually. A few more others, 2 per hour. A parkour tour with the online in, where he's going to guide us all around the space to jump on things and get our parkour badges. And then we'll end it at the fishing pond. That is where the treasure chest airdrop will happen. So you will need your map during that time to get the free one. And that's also where I'm going to announce the talent show winners, and we'll just do some more hanging out and some games, any volunteer talents if anybody wants. And that's kind of the schedule we have. That's a packed one. Of course, there's also all the things that the exhibitors are bringing to the table. It's way more than just these ones. We have almost 70 booths. Over 65 booths are exhibiting already. Hopefully even more over the next 3 weeks. So just because these AMAs here, that there's a lot more projects than just that. And you're going to want, especially, that's what this social block's for. So you're going to want to check out the whole place, see what they have to offer. And we'll have our special booths, a drops booth right here too. The auction house. The auction house booth will also have drops, so you'll be able to see, hey, you can be able to just go right there and see what all there is and where you can go look at things. So very exciting. I think Renman, you just asked about the badges. So yeah, that's a decent question. We have achievement badges for doing different things like dancing and fishing, collecting stars, and more. These badges are awesome. They're being designed by other creators. So very very nice collaborative effort. You have some nice different arts and stuff for doing that. We were wanting to use the inverse statistics to decide who's getting the badges. That was the intent. So the inverse statistics will have the total fishing and they'll have the total dancing and stuff, and we go based on that. However, there has been tech issues in both of the past two events, and also there will be in this event. We've figured out what this reason is. There's another button to enter the world, and when you do that, your stats don't count, and there's no way for us to really decipher who's entering here, who's getting their stats counted, and who's not. They may be able to have workarounds in the future, but not this one. So we're not going to use the statistics. We're actually going to do everything through Twitter, the same way that we do the parkour and the scavenger hunt. And the instructions will be there in the booth. We'll go over it. But instead of statistics, you're just going to have to take screenshots of you doing the things and then for doing the instructions. You just put them onto Twitter and you fill out the form. So for dancing, you're going to have a screenshot of you dancing in 4 different rooms, 4 different locations, and then that'll count as the tweet. The fishing, you're going to have to screenshot a picture of your fish that has to be over 2 pounds. I think maybe over 1 pound. We'll see. But you'll have to screenshot your actual fish when it pops up and then tweet that and fill out the form. The stars, you have to, same thing. You screenshot what you get for collecting the star, your actual power up, 4 different ones. And then the Metaverse Dweller, we're not too sure yet, but potentially you will screenshot 4 different events from the schedule, whatever they are. That's probably going to be the way to do it. This is the only way for us to really do that, and it works. It gets things on Twitter. It lets us. It proves that you're being active and doing the things without like someone manually watching you do it or something. So to answer that question, that's how we're looking at doing things this time. But again, everything will be explained better and more finalized when we get closer. We're only 3 weeks out though, so we're getting there quick. Any other questions before we find somebody to raid? Appreciate everybody that attended today. Hopefully learned something. If you're a creator, you'll be make sure to hit up the other 2 coming up in the next 2 Saturdays, and then you'll get your free Nuvo badge or your Nuvo code for your slides, and maybe a free booth for next time. Yep. You have more to say, Dron? Anybody else? You want to pipe up and say anything?
We've done it. Looking forward to next week.
Fantastic. I'm going to raid Mr. Super Dope TV. He's actually going to be a moderator for our Web3 gaming panel, so that's fun. He's a very nice guy.
Whoop.
And with that, yeah, if nobody else has any other feedback or anything, make sure to come back next week. Come back in 1 week for the next session. If you're a creator, you have a lot of things to do. So get to planning. Start figuring out what drops you want to do and editing your slides. Get into the channel inside the Discord for private updates and things. Communicate with us there. You have instructions for your booth there. And if you come over next week on Saturday, we're going to go through slide layouts. So hopefully you'll learn a lot of things and give you some good ideas on making good slides. But there is also the school session that's on YouTube too. So there is the NFTOPIA YouTube channel. And if you go there, there's the school sessions from last one in April. And there's also good things there if you wanted to go through them. If you really want to dive in and get the most of everything and figure out the best way. Because we also had creators that were there too that provided good input too, good tips.
Yeah, they did.
All right. Make sure that you fill out the form that you're here, though. Do that if you haven't already. That way we can count you. So, once again, that form is right here in the space. Oops. And it's in the chat, so make sure to do that. And get on our Twitter and do that giveaway, too. Share that map vote to your community. It's only a couple hours left. I'm going to announce those tomorrow. So tomorrow we will know who the 3 top voted collections were that are going to get the remaining map pieces. All right? So with that, it's been fun, y'all. It's been real. I'm Breakman. And I had the pleasure to have Mr. Funny NFT Guy from Drawing Company as your main professor. Let's go ahead and say hello to Mr. Super Dope TV, who's playing some video games. Let's read!